What's up, guys? Daniel Levy from Best Fight Picks and Half the Battle here. I already know what you guys want to hear. Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host, as always, Daniel Levy. And guys, Robert Whittaker just went out there, beat Darren Till in the main event. And man, that was a bit of a chess battle. I think a lot of people expected it to be kind of one-sided, and that wasn't the case at all. It was a very interesting fight. I mean, it's funny because on my breakdown, I was doing the whole, skill of the man, will of the man shit in terms of like, I was saying that Robert's more skilled, but Darren might have more will. But honestly, it was the exact opposite. It seemed to me like whenever Darren committed to anything, like that dude is dangerous. His left hand, his uppercut, the elbows, the kicks, like anytime he actually let it go, it's like, holy shit, like this guy is serious. It's just that he didn't really do enough. And it seemed like Whittaker outworked him. It was Whittaker who seemingly wanted it more. But here's what I want to say, though, because the whole thing is about this inactivity, with Darren Till. And it's like, yeah, to us as viewers, as bettors, as DraftKings players, there's definitely inactivity. And, the strikes landed per minute, that whole ordeal, you're 100% right. But when you think of it from Darren Till's perspective, I mean, this guy's in the middle of a war with Robert Whittaker. He's not thinking like, well, I've only landed 2 significant strikes, so now I need to throw another one. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like, well, 2 minutes have gone by. Now it's a good time to throw another strike. No, I think that when you're going to war and you're fighting for your life against a guy like Robert Whittaker, I mean, it is what it is. And Till's got an interesting style because at this point, we've already seen him with so many high-level fighters that it's interesting how he's able to kind of slow down fights against guys like Wonderboy, guys like tonight, Robert Whittaker, even the Kelvin Gastelum fight. He was the guy that Kelvin Gastelum had an 100% knockdown rate at middleweight until he fought Darren Till. So Darren has an interesting way of kind of, slowing the pace of these fights. But man, if he could just do a little bit more, like I feel like he's so damn capable of going out there and doing more, even in a fight like this. I know Robert Whittaker is the former champion, and this is the best fighter that Till's ever fought. But like, don't y'all feel like if he would have just thrown a tiny bit more, he could have got it done? But look, Whittaker made a fantastic adjustment after the first round. So in that first round, Till clips him with the elbow clean. And man, it was looking really bad for Whittaker for a little bit there. But towards the end of the first round, he started making an adjustment and he found a home for that calf kick against Darren Till. And man, that calf kick took a lot out of Darren Till. That calf kick is single-handedly one of the most important tools in the entire sport. And I mean, it arguably won Robert Whittaker this fight, man. So he starts to kind of turn things around at the end of the first round, but you definitely got to give Till the first round. And then the second round comes out there, and man, Robert put it on Darren Till. So he comes back with a knockdown of his own, and he showed off some of that nice grappling. I like that guard pass a lot. It was just kind of a unique scenario to not see Robert Whittaker's, kind of those aggressive hooks from awkward angles. They weren't really working on a guy like Darren Till, so he had to go to the calf kick. And it's interesting, he did it against a southpaw. Maybe Till checked it once or twice, but for the most part, he wasn't checking shit. So, man, props to Whittaker. I definitely felt like he earned the victory, even though you can make a case first, fourth, and fifth for Till. The fourth is the controversial one, and let me explain what I mean by that. So, in that fourth round, yes, Whittaker did more activity, no doubt about it, but there was one little wobble that, Till landed something hard on him, made him do a tiny little chicken dance. It was kind of like that round against Yoel where, like, Whittaker's, like, winning the entire round, and then Yoel wobbles and makes him do a really bad chicken dance, and it's like, who do you score that round for, right? So I feel like the fourth might be the swing round. So the fifth I gave to Till, the first I gave to Till, and then second, third, and fourth. Second and third for Whittaker for sure. Fourth is the one where it's like, who do you score that for? So it's an interesting fight for sure. Nice little technical chess battle. Let's see what y'all got to say. You guys are legit. No, you're legit, man. I appreciate it. Chief Hindsight Analyst, hashtag half the battle. I appreciate it. I made my boy wait for 11 minutes. Appreciate you sticking around. Born ready. Hell yeah. Okay, we'll get to Panty soon. My boy Troy's too lit. What are y'all saying about this fight though? Till, not robbery. Clear 3-2, could have been 4-1. For who? You saying for Till, or you saying for Whittaker? We'll talk. We'll get to her soon after that unbelievable stunt. Both fighters pulled stunts. We'll get to Marina's fight very, very soon. Okay, Matthew says main event was more of a chess match than a fight, but it's all about the W. Exactly, Matthew. You get it, my friend. It's all about the W. Nothing else matters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if we're talking from a non-betting perspective, if we're talking from a non-DraftKings perspective, and we take that cap off, then yeah, okay, then we care about entertainment, and we still do care about entertainment. Obviously, we we don't want to watch boring fights all day, but at the end of the day, above everything else, the W. So you're 100% about that, Matthew. We'll get to Alex Cowboy here soon. All right, so Frank says, close fight, but Bobby clearly won 3-2. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I had it. But again, it all comes down to how you score that fourth round. Why don't you all let me know how y'all score that fourth round? Do you favor the activity of Whittaker, or do you favor that one big moment of Till? Like, I think that's literally the story in the fourth round, unless I'm missing something. But that's off the top of my head. That's kind of what the ordeal was, right? Cloud says, my boy Rob dodged a bullet by Jared getting injured. Cannoneer, definitely a dark horse. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think what's going to happen is that Cannoneer is probably going to get the winner of Adesanya versus Paulo Borrachina, and then they can do the Whittaker versus Hermanson fight. And honestly, I feel like Whittaker and Hermanson is the perfect fight for both guys where they are in their respective careers. Because, look, I know we all thought, that Whittaker probably won that fight, but I think we also can agree that he's not going to beat Israel Adesanya anytime soon. So I think Hermanson's the proper next fight for him, and Hermanson earned it with that first round heel hook. So that's what I want to see, Whittaker versus Hermanson. Y'all cool with that, or you got a different idea? Because I don't want to see – I mean, don't get me wrong. Whittaker versus Cannoneer, I will watch, but, like, I think that – I don't want to see him take that kind of damage yet. I want to see the striker versus the grappler with him and Hermanson. So Hermanson's a tricky guy, man. Like, I didn't expect him to heel hook Kelvin at all. That was serious. Eric said Whittaker looked jacked, but he wasn't technical in the first round. He jumped on Reaper plus 155 live between rounds. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's not that he wasn't technical. It's that, like, when you're trying to close the distance on a guy like Darren Till, and he's a counter fighter, he's waiting for his perfect opportunity to either land that elbow when you're trying to come in, or the straight left down the pipe. It's like you got to be super careful, and like the kind of shit that where Whittaker has this huge speed advantage over these guys like Jacare and some of the other guys he was fighting on the way up. Darren Till, he's a young, hungry lion too. So this was just a completely different fight, man. He had to play it he couldn't go out there as wild as he normally is, because you saw what happened. I mean, Till is no slouch, man. Till just needs to let it go slightly more. Just give me this much more effort. Even though it's like, for me to say that, it's almost like a ridiculous statement. If I say that to Till, it's a ridiculous statement, because he's like, dude, like, well, why don't you go fucking fight Robert Whittaker? You know what I mean? So it's like, what can you really say? But at the end of the day, if you want to get that judge's decision, a little bit more output is what's going to seal the deal for you. Because it's like you see these like flashes of brilliance when Whittaker closes the distance and Till hits him with some nice stuff. Even defensively speaking, some of that head movement is just, and even the feints, man, in that first fucking round when Till was fresh before he took all those calf kicks, like those feints, he had Robert biting on every single feint in that first round. If you could just maintain that throughout the 5 rounds, like Till is no slouch. And obviously Whittaker, the reason I'm praising Till more than Whittaker is because, like, we already know Whittaker, held the belt and defended it. Like, the dude's a stud. It's just Till, a lot of people had a lot of questions about him. A lot of people thought he was going to come out here and get knocked out in the first round. I think he proved a lot that, you got to be serious if you're going to go out there and beat a guy like Darren Till, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I think this will be a valuable learning lesson, hopefully. I mean, because he's had a couple other low-volume fights, but I mean, all he can do is go back to the drawing board and come back better. And for Robert Whittaker, you're fighting Jack Hermanson next, so I cannot wait. My boy Eric thinks it might have been 4-1. 4-1 for who? Whittaker was plus 140 after the first round. Yeah, for sure. I mean, after that elbow dropped him, no doubt about it. Cloud says, if Till would up his volume, he would definitely win so many more fights. Yeah, I agree. It's like when you go out there and Tyron Woodley lands more strikes than you, that's an issue. And then not only that, guys, he landed 0 strikes in that fight. But granted, that was at 70. It was a different time. The way he looks at 85 is a lot better. But you're right. That was also the issue at 72, not just here at 85. So he's gotten better about it, but he still needs to take it up one more notch. And I mean, I think he's got all the potential in the world, man. It's just he's got to make it happen. Rick Jones, I fuck with y'all, my dude. I fuck with you, my dude. I appreciate it. Eric says Till was so passive. I know that's what cost him the decision. Z says, if he had ended Raw with the elbow in the first, I would have cleaned up on DK. I know, right? And if Marina Rodriguez would have got up from bottom, I would have had my best night of the year. But instead, we take the slight win and we move on. Matthew says, Till, Whittaker, Till. Oh, okay. He's scoring the rounds. He says 3-2 for Whittaker. Eric says Till hardly did anything in the fourth round. I know, that's like what we were talking about, man. It's kind of like the Yoel situation where like Whittaker clearly had the output advantage. It was just the one big moment belonged to Till. So it's like, what do you favor more? Do you favor the effort of Whittaker, or do you favor that one big moment where Till wobbled him? So it really comes down to what what you favor more when you're judging a fight. And apparently tonight, all three judges favored Whittaker's activity more, as they did against Yoel Romero in, I believe, what was that fight in Chicago? Y'all let me know. AJ, Dan is showing up during after hours. Love the passion. I appreciate you. Y'all are showing up with me. It's not just me. Y'all are here too. So thank y'all so much. Pedro says, I'm glad we're not hearing Shaq's dumbass. Damn, man, that's brutal. Should we get you on to replace him, Pedro? You want to come on here with me and show me what you got, my guy? Kyle says, sliding in some support, brother. I'm Kyle David on Twitter. Quick in and out. Kids crying off his head. Got to put him down. It's 10 p.m. my way. I appreciate you sliding in, bro. Really do. Thank you so much. Dylan says, Betch trying to touch gloves to end rounds with 10 seconds left is the most Betch shit I've ever seen. I know, right? That was crazy. All right, hold on. My shit just like scrolled all over the place, so I gotta like scroll back up to see. Okay, here we go. Frank, Till is too cautious and tentative, but he impressed me. Yeah, well said. I mean, that's basically like what the deal is, right? Like he's got all these flashes of brilliance. He's got all the potential. I mean, he's huge for the weight class. He was huge for 70s. He's huge for 85s too. It's like, just give me a little bit more effort, Darren Till. And I think he could stick around the top 5. So this is going to be a big moment in his career. How's he going to bounce back? Because it's like from the Woodley loss, obviously the result against Masvidal wasn't what he wanted, but performance-wise, the Masvidal fight was a way better performance than the Woodley fight. Because you think about it this way, he lands 0 strikes against Woodley and, loses his dream at the time of being the champion. So that's a crushing blow. And also it's an even more crushing blow to land less strikes than a guy like Tyron Woodley, who doesn't throw anything, right? But regardless of that, it comes back against Masvidal, actually drops him in the first 10 seconds. So it appears things are going good, but like some of his reactions at 170 pounds were a little bit too slow because, he needs those extra 15 pounds of water in his body, in his brain. And you saw tonight how much better he looked. So now it's about go out there, throw a little bit more, and we'll see what happens after that. Cloud says that where Doom line was definitely whack. Congrats to all who sniped it. Oh, you already know. BestFightPicks.com. Hit that plus 300. We'll get to that soon. Yo, Levy, I called Word Doom out to you last recap video you did. That's right, you did. I remember that. Good job, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the heads up. I was eyeing it the whole time, but I can't give that away, bro. But plus 300, it came through. So we'll talk about that soon. Let me see if y'all got anything more on me about Whittaker and Till. Kyle says, Dan's the boss. Dan's the man. You're the boss. You're the man. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I agree. Cloud did nail it. Pedro says, I'm just mad I didn't get We're Doomed by submission higher than plus 535. Hey, but you got We're Doomed by submission regardless. So who cares? Take that win and move on to the next, Brandon Parker says, you gave Till the 5th. He got taken out 3 times at the end of the round, and the strikes were close. Yeah, I mean, look, you're right. On paper, he did kind of get taken out 3 times, but to me, it seemed like in that 5th round, that was the closest to the first round in terms of Till actually letting it go. So I thought he definitely landed the more significant strikes in the 5th round. And I also thought that he threw enough volume that round to where you could actually justify giving the round. And I didn't really think that the takedowns, overrided what Till did in that specific round. So yeah, I personally gave the 5th to Till, and yeah, the 4th is still my swing round, man. I'm actually curious to see what the judges scored it. Should we check MMA decisions real quick and see what they said? Because like, were they all unanimous in terms of the rounds that they scored for each guy, or was it all over the place? I'm very curious to find out. So I'm about to tell y'all here in a second. Oh, okay. Wow, they don't even fucking have round by round. They just have the official scores in terms of 48, 47 times 3. All right. Well, if y'all find out, y'all let me know, which rounds each guy got scored for. All right. Okay, God bless you, Dan. Thanks for all your hard work every week. Thank you very much for tuning into all my hard work every week. I appreciate that. Z said all the judges gave 1 to Till, 2 and 3 to Rob. Then they are split on the champ rounds. Oh wow! So the shit wasn't even unanimous in terms of like where they scored each round. That's very interesting. I appreciate you clarifying that, Z. So let me read that again. All the judges gave 1 to Till, 2 and 3 to Rob. Okay, so if it's a 3-round fight, that's 29-28 Rob, and then the champ round. So okay, can you find out like how many scored the 4th round for Till, and then how many scored the 5th round for him? Because I'm very curious how they viewed both those rounds. Dylan says, I'm not sure 5 was a Till round. Elbow that opened him up. What else? I mean, I swear he landed like some more, straight lefts. What else does he throw, right? No, but like, some straight lefts, the elbow that opened him up. I don't know. I got to rewatch it. Just live, I remember thinking that you could have gave that 5th round to Till. So Frank gave the 4th round to Till, but the 5th to Rob. Okay, interesting. So it's like, do y'all favor those takedowns more than what Till landed that round, or do you kind of feel like it was kind of close on the feet and then Rob edged it with those takedowns? Because if that's the perspective you're coming from, I understand. It just, off memory, it seemed to me like Till was actually landing the harder shots in that 5th round. I'm only talking about the 5th round, and actually let it go enough to where you could justify giving that round to him. So it'd be interesting to read which rounds the judges gave it to, or you guys know what I'm trying to fucking say. All right. Jimmy says, very high percentage on tonight's winners should be faded in the future. Oh, yeah. Look, it's all about the matchup. That's all it comes down to. All about the matchup. Sidney Baptiste says 2 judges gave 4th to Till and 2 judges gave 5th to Till. So, oh, yeah, man. So Rob already had it sealed, huh? Yeah, like I said, man, you could definitely make the argument for 4th, 5th Till, but you can also make the argument for Rob too. So it's really about what you favor when you're scoring a fight. Dylan says, if Costa beats Izzy, would you be okay with Whittaker Costa? I mean, yeah, of course I'd be okay with it. Do I think Whittaker's going to win that fight? No, I don't. But, it'd be interesting to see where they line it. And, that's no disrespect to Rob. I just feel like I don't want to see him take on these super heavy hitters like Izzy or Paulo Borrachina. I mean, do y'all think Rob would beat Borrachina right now? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know, man. I want to see him fight Hermanson. I think that's the right next step for him. 5 Diamond says, bad style match for Hermanson. Rob takedown defense too good. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel you on that. It's just one of those things where it's like Rob's takedown defense is incredible. But we have seen him taken down before. And Hermanson's a tricky guy. Like, on paper, you're right. Like, I would line Whittaker the favorite in that spot, no doubt about it. And I think he's got a lot of advantages. No questions asked. It's just Hermanson, he's the Joker, man. He'll surprise you with some shit. So I definitely want to see that fight, because it's like, I definitely ain't throwing Hermanson in there with Cannonier or Paulo Borrachina, you know what I mean? So I feel like these two got to fight each other. Stanley says, I was impressed by Till tonight despite the loss. He needs more volume. Score at 4-1 Rob. Okay, so you only scored the first round for Till then? Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make the argument, for Rob winning 4 rounds. I personally had it 3-2. Cloud says, Izzy has been my money train. Not betting the Costa, legit Costa can beat him. Probably his toughest matchup. Very tough matchup. I'm very curious to see how that one goes down, in terms of how Izzy responds to the shots that Costa throws. Can Costa maintain that same pace throughout the 5-round duration, or will it kind of wane, in the, once it hits the 3rd, 4th, and 5th? And there's a lot of things that I'm curious about when you talk about a fight like that. No doubt about it. My boy Z just DM'd me the scorecards. So I'm going to tell you what they said. All right. So all three judges scored the first round for Darren Till. All three judges scored the second and third for Robert Whittaker. And then, wow, they don't even fucking tell me the names of these judges. It says white judge, blue judge, and yellow judge. What the fuck? But anyways, white judge said fourth round for Till and fifth round for Whittaker. Blue judge said fourth round for Whittaker, fifth round for Till. And okay, here we go. It does say their names. Ben Cartledge, Anders Olsen, and Clemens Werner. Y'all ever heard of those guys? But anyways, Clemens Werner scored it round 4 for Till and round 5 for Whittaker. So, man, those championship rounds were all over the place. So it really just came down to that, honestly. Nick Rodriguez, Till was almost knocked out though in round 2, right? Yeah, all three judges scored round 2 for Robert Whittaker. So there's no issue there. Bernardo Oliveira says, I saw Whittaker won second round only. That's funny. Matthew says, hindsight is 2020, but even before the fight, I thought Whittaker was valued more than a pick'em. Definitely saw value in that line. Whittaker should have been minus 150, minus 160 easily. I mean, I guess. It was a close fight that kind of came down to the wire in a way. I mean, according to the judges' scorecards, it came down to the wire. So, honestly, I personally think the pick'em was, with a slight lean on Whittaker was the right line, but this is all after the fact. At the end of the day, he got the win, so it is what it is. So Kyle Miller, this shit is so real. I'm I'm trying to put my kids to sleep, and I can't hang up on the shit. I appreciate that, man. Are they still giving you a lot of trouble? They still being loud, or what? Maybe. I think they'll be good. I got faith in you, bro. All right, Bernardo Oliveira, Till back on the ground is like a turtle. That's funny. Yeah. Hey, at least he didn't get submitted, right? It was a step in the right direction, because it was funny because he was like in the exact same spot that he was in the Woodley fight, where he gets dropped and they're in that half guard position. I'm like, is Rob about to go for a Darce choke here? But Till was able to pop back up. He's kind of tough to hold down. He's a big dude, so man, it was good to see Whittaker show off some of his ground game. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen it. Offensively speaking, the last time we saw it was obviously the Yoel Romero fights, and his takedown defense is unbelievable. His submission defense, you saw the Jacare fight. So yeah, Whittaker is a very talented guy. Nick Rodriguez says clear 3-2 for Whittaker. Chris says, my guy Dan, what's good? What's good, Chris? What's up, man? Jimmy says, where does Cannonier go next? He's a serious problem in the division. He fights the winner of Paulo Borrachino versus Israel Adesanya for the undisputed UFC middleweight title, man. He's up next. Fucking Marina, dude. RIP. Yeah, I know. That was something. Stanley says, I think Till volume is so low because he looks for single shot and was looking to catch Rob coming in. Yeah, he was definitely looking to catch Rob coming in, no doubt about it. I guess in a nutshell, you're right. He is trying to look for that counter the entire time, but he's definitely capable of going out there and doing more. Like in that 5th round, that's the first time I saw him like actually pump the jab a little bit. I was like, dude, like, where's this been the entire fight besides round 1? So, I think that he'll go back to the drawing board, watch this fight, and this will probably be a very frustrating one for him because it was within reach, so. But a very gritty win for Robert Whittaker nonetheless. Hermanson is very bad game for Till. Yeah, I know. I want to see if he gets on top of him, I agree, but I kind of want to see like I told you already, Hermanson versus Whittaker. I think that's the fight to make. And not Till versus Gastelum rematch. We're not going to go in that direction. I haven't really thought about what we should do with Till next. We can look at the rankings here in a sec, unless y'all got some suggestions. What do y'all think about Till and Brunson after Brunson loses to Edmund next week? Eric says, yeah, there were a couple of us in here who called the Werdum fight. A woman named Annette Ryan also. Well, congrats to you and Annette Ryan. Nick says he'll bet Till to defeat Hermanson. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna fight, man. But if they do, I hope you get dog odds on that. Bernardo, Marina, worst wrestling in UFC. Yeah, you're not gonna get an argument from me there. That was something, man. I was very. I mean, I wasn't surprised she got taken down, but I was like surprised that how long it took her to get back up. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Thomas McDonald says, how high can Evloev reach in the division? Man, he is talented. Should we just go ahead and talk about that fight real quick? Like, that Evloev fight was something else because that first round, Grundy comes out like a bat out of hell. Grundy cracks him with something hard, takes him down. And, man, when he started to set up that Darce choke, I mean, I thought it was about to be game, set, and match. And the defense that Evloev showed, the composure to get out of a spot like that was a locked-in Darce, man. Like, he had the leg hooked and everything, man. And Evloev's a special individual. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we love his volume on the feet. We love his wrestling ability. But now we know about his heart. Now we know about his resolve. And Evloev, he's got a very bright future. So that was a very inspiring performance as far as I'm concerned. My boy Dan Tom says, stopping in to pay my respects and say what's up. Congrats on the hits tonight. I appreciate you so much. My boy Dan Tom cashed in on Trinaldo. We saw you do that, man. Good shit. Check my boy out. Check us out. The Line Movement MMA Betting Show. Y'all heard my new show yet with Dan Tom? It's pretty fucking badass. Make sure you check it out. linemovement.com. Sydney says, has Rob and Ben Henderson's toothpick has Rob had Ben Henderson's toothpick in for these Romero and Till decisions? So that's funny as hell because y'all remember back when Benson was, doing his thing, a lot of people criticized him because they thought a lot of those decisions were very controversial, and he would always fight with that toothpick, and the ref, the inspection staff, no one would see it, so he got away with it, and then he'd win those decisions. It was an interesting thing. Sex God says, love your podcast, bro. Look forward to it every card. I appreciate you, Sex God. Frank says, Till isn't one-dimensional, but his game definitely revolves around his left hand. Give us a little more diversity. Yeah, definitely. Or just, throw more is all I need. Just throw a little bit more, Till. Like, you got what it takes. Like, his weapons are fucking awesome, man. That left hand is great. The kicks, the elbow. Just need a little bit more. Let it go more. Like, maybe don't counter the entire time. But, like, again, who am I to tell Darren Till what to do? He's got, he got to a fight with Robert Whittaker in the main event on ESPN doing what he does for a reason. Maybe just Robert Whittaker was the better guy. Maybe Robert Whittaker wanted it more. So Robert Whittaker outworked him tonight. But, yeah, I would like to see a little bit more output from Till. Early prediction for Izzy versus Costa. Man, that's a tough fight to call. I see a lot of confidence both ways. And obviously you can make a compelling case for both. The stick and move, the striking prowess of Izzy Adesanya, the championship experience, or, the raw power of Costa. And honestly, like, people just say he's just a power guy, which, he does only throw power, but like his technique, the way he moves it up, the way he mixes it up to the body, and also he rips a very hard body kick. Like, he's got some good shit, man. I like Borrachino a lot. So I cannot wait for that fight. Bernardo Oliveira says that elbow opened a Red Sea on Whittaker's head. Yeah, it was a nicely placed elbow. Would have liked to see more than two elbows, right? Danny Moore says, I like Izzy too, but I had the fight 3-2 for Rob. Yeah, I think 3-2 is what I had it as well. Boog said 4 is very hard to judge. I watched it 3 times now. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, exactly. Like, live, I was like, man, like, I think Till got that round, but like, definitely worried about, the activity of Whittaker once again. No questions asked. It's like he got wobbled, but then he went back and, got the round back. Danny Moore's got it 1-5 for Till, 2-4 for Whittaker, or 2-4 for Whittaker for sure. Yeah, that's how I had it too. I think we get the point of this fight, right? We spent a good bit talking about this fucking main event. We can move on, so we'll figure out a fight for Till later. Maybe you can fight Brunson after this Shabazian fight, and you already know the deal. Whittaker versus Hermanson next. So the co-main event between the two legends, man, that was a fucking great fight, just like their other 2 fights. Anytime Shogun and Lil Nog get booked for a battle, that's exactly what it's going to be, a battle, 3-round fight. And, to see them go out there, my boy Lil Nog's 44 years old, guys. And to see him go out there and have that kind of fight, I feel like it came down to that third round. Shogun kind of edged it, but first round, honestly, actually comes down to the first round. Because look, second round was Lil Nog's round, third round was Shogun's round. It all comes down to how you score that first. Because I felt like, Shogun got the takedown. Shogun might have had a little more activity, but in those exchanges, Nogueira was busting them up. So it's all about how you score that first round. How'd y'all score? Let me know. But man, it's awesome to see those legends go to war once again. Shogun's now 3-0 to close out the trilogy. And Lil Nog retired, but he goes out with wins against Dan Henderson, Alistair Overeem 2 times, Tito, Rashad. Like, he had a fantastic career, and the memorable trilogy with Shogun. Like, there's so much you can say about Lil Nog. And Shogun's the man. The funny thing about Shogun is that he's actually, just on paper on the best run of his UFC career. He's like 5-1-1 in his last 7 fights or something along those lines. And it's funny because even when he was like the champ and stuff, or the number one contender, he wasn't really stringing too many wins together. Now he's been doing his thing. So it's cool to see legends get fights like that. And, the fact that we don't have to see like Shogun versus Yuri Prohaska. Like we don't want to see that shit. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's just sad, right? Whereas here, Shogun versus Lil Nog, even playing field, like that was the perfect fight. So I'm curious to see what they do next with Shogun. Let's take a look at the rankings real quick. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a brutal business. If they got to feed him to a prospect, they got to do what they got to do. But for selfish reasons, since I love Mauricio Shogun, let's keep him in these legends type fights, man. Let's see if there's any more legends in this division. Oh, it's too bad he got knocked out by Lionheart Smith. You know what I mean? It's like we got to be careful who we match him up with. Like, do y'all think Volkan Oezdemir is too much for Shogun, or do you think that's a reasonable fight? Y'all let me know. Nick says Till was trying to weasel this fight. Yeah, he was trying to weasel a little bit. All right, let's see. Okay, so Warrior says Borrachinha obliterates Rob inside 10 minutes. Damn. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens in that fight, man. Like, inside 10 minutes. I mean, that Yoel fight, it's funny. Like, I can almost talk about that Yoel fight how I talk about tonight's fight. Like, if Yoel just did a little bit more, like, Yoel, why'd you stop fighting after the second round? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's like he did that against Whittaker, too. So, yeah, I mean, you might be on to something, man. This guy Borrachinha is no fucking joke at all. Like, he hits so much harder than these guys, and it seems like he's got the endurance to go the full distance. So, like, that's one of the fights I'm most looking forward to out of any fight this year. So, can't wait to see what happens when those two square off, man. Z's MMA. What's up, Z? He says, Till says Rob blew his knee out with a stomp in the second round. Oh, so it wasn't like related to the calf kicks? Interesting. So, man, when you add all those things up, man, he had a lot of trauma towards that leg tonight, didn't he? Dylan says, Rob don't beat Borrachinha. I just don't know that if I am Rob, 10-1 your last 11, only losing to Izzy, you get number 6 Hermanson. Yeah, but that's not how this shit works, man. I mean, let's look at the rankings right now. Izzy's tied up with Paulo. Jared's getting the winner. Rob already fought Yoel twice. Rob already fought Darren Till tonight. So the last man standing is Jack Hermanson. So it's really about who's available, who's willing to fight. That's the next fight, my boy. Simon says, last time we get to fade Gus. Oh, that was so nice. I can't wait to talk about that. All right. Danny Moore, go check Twitter. I sent you scorecards with judge's name. I appreciate that, Danny. Cindy says, I nearly wrecked my fucking house when Esparza jumped for that ankle again in round 2. Yeah, I wish he did it again in round 3 so that Marina could have got the nod, but, it is what it is. Teller's burner account, I don't know who that is, but if it's a fan of the show, I appreciate it, bro. Kyle Miller, thanks for multiple shout-outs. I had Rob 3-2. I can't recall when I gave someone a round 1 and 5 anyone else. Yeah, for sure. Eric said, I just saw on Twitter after the fights, they were saying Chimaev might be getting a fight lined up for 252. Kid's a fucking animal, man. Like, damn, he'll literally fight all the time. It's great. So now, like, let's give him a slight step up, or do you think we should still take it slow? Because what, he's only 8-0 now, so it's just like he's gonna run through. Like Chimaev is gonna run through these lower level guys, no problem. So it's like, do we want to test them out yet or no? I mean, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Let me see what y'all are saying on Twitter real quick. Give me a second here. Okay. I appreciate the shout out, gentlemen. My boy Brian Jeffrey says, who's got the best post fight show on YouTube? My boy Z says, clearly best fight picks. I mean, it's just facts, man. It's just science. 9 out of 10 doctors approve, you know? So Eric says, Grundy nearly had him. Yeah, Grundy did nearly have him, but close but no cigar. Nick says Shogun is 6-1-1. Is that true? Is it 6-1-1 or 5-1-1? Let me look this up. Is it really 6-1-1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1-1. Nah, bro. I'm right on this one, my boy Nick. It's 5-1-1. All right, let's see. All right, sorry, my shit got scrolled down, so I'm gonna scroll up and see what y'all are saying. Joel says, "Say Grundy properly, please, Dan." All right, I will. I'm losing my voice here, but I got you, bro. Don't worry, I got you. It's making me laugh. Grundy. Evloev is a serious fighter. Yes, he is, man. Yes, he's very, very serious. All right, I think I've caught up with most of it, so now I can start scrolling down naturally. I don't gotta scroll up. Okay, Grundy. Yeah. Okay. Kyle says Evloev was impressive. I was confused who to be high on for that fight, but I thought we were looking at fire versus fire. Yeah, it was a fucking great fight. I was actually kind of surprised about the 230-27s. I guess when I watched it, I kind of gave the first round to Grundy, the second and third to Evloev. So they got the winner correct. I was just kind of surprised to see 30-27s for Evloev. What do y'all think? Am I tripping? Or because like I felt like Grundy won that first round with the takedown, with the near Darsa, attempt and this and that, or do you guys think that Evloev kind of stole it back? Because some of Evloev's get-ups, that butterfly sweep he had, like Evloev is fucking serious, and Grundy will be back too. Look out for Grundy. Why did Grundy release that choke? He let Evloev out. No, he didn't let him out. Evloev escaped, man. Like, so basically, Grundy had that shit locked in. He had the leg hooked, and usually when you get the leg hooked on a Darce choke, that shit's almost but guaranteed to be over. But Evloev was smart enough to push off the hips, and he just created that little bit of space to get his leg out, and from there he was able to scramble and turn out. And man, that was a serious escape by Evloev. Because I'm telling you right now, man, that Grundy will choke some other people with that, no doubt about it. Bernardo says Evloev versus Grundy was a preview of Dodson versus Merab. Like, so you think it's gonna be like a back and forth fight where like Dodson kind of gets the first and then Merab kind of takes over late type thing? Is that what you're saying? Nick says, give Chimaev a fight next week. I know that's what he wants, man. That's what he fucking wants. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let's pull up the roster right now and let's match up Chimaev. Y'all tell me in the comments who you want to see Chimaev fight, but I'm gonna pull up the welterweight roster right now and tell you who I think he should fight. So let's go to the bottom of the list because we gotta take it easy. Okay, so you already beat Rice McKee. You want to put him in there with Jesse Ronson, who just beat Dalby tonight? There's Jesse Ronson. Jesse Ronson got his $50K bonus, first UFC win. Props to him. So you could do Jesse Ronson. Let's see. You could put him in there with Christian Aguilera. I mean, it's like it's all about what exactly do they want to do with this guy? Do they want to have him run through a couple more people first, get a little bit more seasoning, or are they ready to kind of throw him in the top 30, top 25? And really test them out that way. So it all comes down to what their plan is for him, because we could take both approaches. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally, like, the two guys he fought, they can keep giving him guys like that and let him stack up his highlight reel, let him get a couple more 50K bonuses, do the whole bit, build a star, get his name out there, because, like, he seems to be pretty damn popular. For only 2 fights in the UFC, the way people are talking about this kid, they're super high on him, and UFC's got to ride that momentum. So I'm actually super intrigued when they go to that matchmaker meeting on Tuesday. Are they talking about giving him another Rice McKee, another John Phillips, and what that would translate to would be, a Christian Aguilera, Let's see who else. Jesse Ronson. I mean, Jesse Ronson's a little bit more of a step up. Don't get me wrong, but I think we all agree Himaev would be favored there. A Maki Pitolo, a Sato, something like that, or are they already starting to think, Alexei Kunchenko, Keenan Song, Ramazan Ameev? Like, where do they want to take it? What about that fucking guy, Emil Meek? He's still on the roster. Should we go ahead and get him out real quick? How about Himaev versus Emil Meek? We know Meek can't stuff a takedown to save his life, but he's kind of tough and might be able to last the full 3-round distance. So that'll kind of give us a glimpse of, can Himaev do what he did to Phillips and McKee for 3 straight rounds? So what about him and Emil Meek? Because it's a step up from McKee and Phillips, but it's still, low enough to where you still let the kid get, a guaranteed dub. So let me know what y'all think. AJ says, what's next for Fabricio Vicavalo Werdum? So is it time to talk about that fight? I guess we should go ahead and talk about it. So, man, I'm really stoked right now. I know I should be more excited, but like, to me, it's like this is in the past now. Like I cashed a plus 300 on Fabricio Werdum, which is my biggest underdog cash of the year. And like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. But like now I'm just focused on this next card. Like this shit, you take it one step at a time, man. And yeah, it's awesome to come out there and cash that. And like if y'all go back and check out my preview on Half the Battle or the Line Movement MMA betting show, and then you see the comments I got for my confidence in Werdum, like I said, this fight's gonna hit the mat one time and it will be over shortly after. So that's exactly what happened. It's funny because when it was going on live and Werdum got his back, I was like, okay, cool, we won. And then when he went for the armbar, I was like, no, Fabricio. I was like, fuck. Like, because, usually, for men, armbars, people usually slip out of that shit. And you saw his last fight against Olenek when he went for that armbar, and Olenek was able to slip out. So when he got the back, I was like, yes, we're about to cash. But then when he went for the armbar, I was like, fuck. He's about to slip off, go on bottom. Gustafsson's going to get on top. But then he hung onto the arm. He rolled him over. Then he got on top, starts landing all these hammer fists. I was like, okay, so this shit really is a wrap. And then hyperextended the arm, got the tap. So very, very happy about that. Cashing that plus 300 on Fabricio Vicavalo Werdum. Man, and y'all got to see the comments I got on my YouTube about that. Like people got passionate about that. Like, and I don't understand why. Not to be Mr. After the fact. It's just, to me, it's like, if it was a pick'em fight, then you get passionate about Gustafsson if you really want to make the case, even though I would still take Werdum there. But like when it's minus, 350, minus 400 Gustafsson, you're getting passionate about it. That's when you're like, dude, like you just got finished by Anthony Smith as soon as it hit the mat. He lost a round to Anthony Smith, who's not a round winner. John Jones, I know Jones is the GOAT, but in Gustafsson's prime, he could hang with John Jones. Then they meet again, and Jones runs through him. He hits the mat one time, the fight's over shortly after. So twice in a row, he got finished as soon as it hit the mat. So what's going to happen when Werdum gets on top? And I think the biggest misconception was that there was this alleged huge advantage on the feet for Gustafsson, which was total bullshit. I feel like people sleep on Werdum's stand-up. It was him landing the kicks. The kicks were basically the only thing going on in the stand-up. Gustafsson tried a couple jabs that missed, but Werdum was getting off on some kicks, took him down right away, passed, got the back, armbar, game, set, and match, plus 300 cash. I was very happy about that. Now, to answer your question, AJ, what's next? Someone messaged me and told me he was retiring. I don't know if that's true. I heard that might be the last fight on his contract. I also don't know if that's true either. So shit, I don't know. But let's say it's not, and we look at the rankings real quick. So Fabricio Vicavalo, wow, he's number 14. Holy shit. He fell off a little bit, my boy did. I kind of don't agree with him being number 14. He beat Walt Harris. I kind of think he should be ahead of Augusto Sakai, maybe ahead of Shamil Abdurakhimov. Fabricio Werdum should be ahead of guys like that, right? So fight one of those guys next if you stick around. If not, we thank you for everything, Fabricio. He's the guy that dethroned Cain Velasquez, ended Fedor's unbelievable win streak, and just gave us so many memories. That fight against Travis Brown, he had 2 of them, but the second one, as soon as the bell rings, runs across the octagon, throws a flying sidekick to the face against Travis Brown, and then he front kicks his coach, Edmund, after the fight. So Fabricio is a legend, man. Didn't he throw a boomerang at Colby Covington too, and down under in Australia? So you know what I mean. And Colby's by the way, he got matched up with Woodley. Colby and Woodley are gonna fight. It's gonna be interesting to see what the line is, and I can't wait to see the hype for that fight. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Cloud says, should Kelvin get a nutritionist and go down to 70s? Think he has a discipline problem, too small for middleweight? I mean, no, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Like, a discipline problem has nothing to do with getting caught in a leg lock. And, you know, the other two losses, yeah, maybe in the Till fight, he had a bit of a discipline problem. You know, he showed up unmotivated for that. But the Adesanya fight, a lot of people to this day think that he gave Adesanya his toughest fight. So I don't think it's a matter of dropping to 70. I think it's, you know, it's unfortunate what happened against Hermanson because he actually showed up hungry for that fight. And I don't mean hungry for the buffet, Cloud. I mean hungry to get a win, but shit didn't go his way. So it is what it is. I think he'll be back. You know, it's funny. I was trying to match up Till with Brunson, but now I'm thinking, what about Kelvin and Brunson? So there's a lot of options. He'll be back. Intrust says Evloev is one of those Peter Yan Russians. They don't give a fuck and will fight for your money, no stunts. Yeah, those guys are what we like to call winners. Intrust. Piotr Yan and Movsar Evloev are winners in every sense of the word, and they're dangerous anywhere the fight goes. So well said, dude. Stanley says Evloev defense was very impressive, but he got a gas out of Grundy for 12 minutes and can't hurt the guy. I'm not sold, but we'll see. Yeah, but like you got to think about it this way: when you consider the opponent compared to the other two guys he fought, like dude, he was in there with Sung Woo Choi, right? You know, this is a massive step up in competition. Like Grundy's no slouch; he just doesn't have the name. And Evloev, you know, had a good fight with Barzola too. So look, these are tough fights, no doubt about it. I know you want him to go out there and run through these guys in the first round, and it's like you know, we all do, you know. You know, if you're putting that, you know, that ceiling on him, saying that, you know, he's a future this, future that, it's just that it's not always realistic to run through these guys. This is the UFC. This is one of the toughest divisions in the entire sport. Like these guys are hungry, man. Not every fight is going to be a wipeout. Kyle Miller says, we're doomed versus anyone. I'd watch it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're doomed. And I'm glad that he got to right the wrong of that last fight against Alexei Olenek, you know, because if y'all heard his pre-fight interview, you know, this time around, he said that the Olenek fight, you know, was around the beginning of the pandemic, you know, around the time, you know, the quarantine started. So he didn't really have, you know, the right sparring partners. You know, people were kind of hesitant to go to the gym and he didn't really have any strength and conditioning. But he said this time, like, he wanted to give it another go. Like, he wanted to do everything the right way, show up and show that, hey, like, I still got it, man. So I think that's what he did tonight. So really impressive stuff by Werdum. Let's be all in on Edmund by knockout, Nick Rodriguez says. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. You know, it's an interesting spot because this is that case where it's like we talked about last week, when Robert Whittaker finished Brunson in the first round, title shot. When Izzy Adesanya finished him in the first round, title shot. Now, officially, he fought Anderson Silva between the title shot, but we all know that was just kind of like a filler fight, you know, but the title shot was always next. So, yeah, I mean, Edmund could be up next for a title shot. There's a couple guys he's behind. You know, he's behind Cannonier, obviously. And you also got to see how the Izzy and the Borrachinha fight plays out. And then we take it from there. But, yeah, if Edmund goes out there, gets a knockout, gets a submission, gets a dominant win over Derek Brunson, if he handles Derek Brunson like he's supposed to, it's going to be bright skies for that kid for sure. Steve says Shogun should have left his gloves too. Yeah, you know, but I kind of like what Shogun's been doing lately, just in terms of, you know, some of these guys have too big of egos, like Chris Weidman. Like Chris Weidman doesn't realize that, you know, he's declining. So let's take lesser competition. Chris Weidman still talks about how, like, oh, I can be the guy to dethrone Israel Adesanya, or I can beat John Jones. It's like, no, Chris, you can't. Whereas Shogun, he stopped fighting with all the top contenders. Nowadays, he's out there, you know, having the fights with Lil Nog, Corey Anderson, John Vellante, Tyson Pedro, Paul Craig. So I feel like Shogun's been making some smart moves career-wise, taking these kind of fights that are advantageous for him, and, you know, isn't going to be like a death sentence. Like again, like I was saying, you're not going to put Shogun in there with Yuri Prohaska. I hope not, right? So let him keep taking these kind of fights if he wants to stay active. You know, this is how he makes a living. So I'm cool with him continuing to fight, contingent on him taking these kind of matchups. Pineapple Cook says, who impressed me the most tonight? Let's take a look. So obviously, okay. how about Tom Aspinall? I had a bet on him. I had a bet on Werdum, and then I had a bet on Marino Rodriguez. Marino was the only loss, but it was a winning night because of Aspinall and Werdum. So I got to say I was most impressed with Aspinall and Werdum. When you talk about easy money, you talk about Tom Aspinall. I mean, when you guys saw how Jay Collier showed up to the weigh-ins, I was like, wait, is that Jay Collier or is that like a last minute replacement? Or is that Jay Collier's older brother? Like it was ridiculous, dude. Like I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Like we thought Jean Vellante let it go during the quarantine. And wait till you see Jay Collier. And it's like if you've been watching the sport for a while, I mean not even that long, if you've been watching the last couple of years and you saw Jay Collier in 2017, 2016, 2015, completely different guy. It was like holy shit. I wasn't even planning on betting Tom Aspinall. Because the film, I was just like, he's good, whatever, like no big deal, right? I was like, if Jake shows up like what he looked like at middleweight, it might be a close fight. But when I saw Jake on the scales, I was like, dude. So someone last week was asking me who are my guys I auto bet, and it's like I don't have guys I auto bet, I have situations I auto bet. This is a situation I auto bet, just like Vellante and Maurice Green. And someone's gonna say, "Oh, you got lucky." Did I really get lucky though? Because let's talk about that for a second. All three judges scored the first 2 rounds for Maurice Green, and Maurice Green finished the fight in the 3rd round. So yeah, did Vellante have one little moment, where it looked like he might get a comeback? Yes, but he didn't. He lost the first 2 rounds and he got finished in the 3rd. So I mean, I got no issues winning money on that. But bottom line, back to my point about the auto bets, it's a situation based ordeal. Like you see these guys show in with these love handles, like completely fat, out of shape during the quarantine. Go ahead and fade them because they've all been losing. I mean, the ones I cashed in on, obviously Maurice Green and Tom Aspinall, but there's ones I passed on, which I noticed, but I wasn't, onto this yet. Kevin Aguilar versus Charles Rosa. Kevin Aguilar showed up completely out of shape. And then the last one was Zaruk Adashev against Tyson Nam. That kid, like, it looked like he had been eating McDonald's cheeseburgers, on the walk to the weigh-in. So, yeah, man. I know I got off on a tangent, but who impressed me the most tonight were Doom and Tom Aspinall. Jimmy the Drunk says, Sarukian versus Dober. Look, I like the fight, but I feel like Dober kind of earned, top 15 guys for now. You know what I mean? He's paid his dues for such a long fucking time that he needs to be fighting guys ranked ahead of him. But yeah, I do like the fight, obviously. But with Sarukian, let's do something else with him. I forgot what the matchup I did on BFP matchmaking. Do you remember what it was? But we definitely got some options for Sarukian. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. All right. Sydney says, do you think there should be a rule change where refs are more likely to take a point for a single eye poke and single ball shot kind of feel like some fighters take their free ones at times? Well, Sydney, it's a good question, but it's one of those things where it's like refs' discretion. So they can take it after one eye poke or one low blow. And I've seen, refs take points for one cage grab, so it's really refs' discretion how they want to approach it. Do they want to give a warning? Do they want to just go ahead and dock a point? So yeah, it comes down to refs' discretion. Oh no, Nick wants to see Yuri versus Shogun next. Nah, don't do it. But if they do it, I'll tune in. But don't do it, Okay, so y'all think Volkan would murder Shogun. All right, so let's not see that fight. So let's keep Shogun with these kind of opponents. You know what I mean? What about Shogun versus Jay Collier? No, we got to save Jay Collier for John Vellante. That's the fight. JP says Volkan will be minus 350 in that fight. Hold up. Give him Mickey Gall. Oh, damn. You want to see, my boy Brett wants to see Himaev versus Mickey Gall. I want to see my boy Jared Nitro and Gooden get Mickey Gall in his debut. How about that? Himaev versus Mickey Gall. You're killing me. QB says, if Weidman wins, they're going to give him a title shot. I know, right? So funny. Stanley says, like you said, Dan, feed him a couple more fights. Chimaev, that is, before the top 15. I agree. JT says, Werdum was easy money. Yes, it was. Plus 300. Can you believe that shit? Okay. Eric says, best Whittaker we've seen tonight. Keep that in mind. Till has good boxing. Whittaker might hit Costa with a haymaker. Was it the best Whittaker we've seen tonight? I mean, don't get me wrong. He dug deep. He definitely showed that, the championship qualities. He's a beast. So, I mean, the only reason I'm like disputing that point, not because, I want to discredit, a great like Robert Whittaker, not at all, but more so because I'm not convinced, Eric, that he would beat Izzy Adesanya or Paulo Borrachina. So when we talk about the best Whittaker we've ever seen, I think about championship caliber Robert Whittaker. And I know he can prove me wrong. Maybe he comes out there and wins the belt again. I just don't think so, man. I think he had his time. And it's crazy to say that about a 29-year-old. It's just that, Eric, when Whittaker was kind of coming up in the division, it was back when, there was Bisping, Rockhold, Weidman, Jacare. Those were the prominent guys in the top 5. But now you got Izzy, Borrachina, Cannonier. So it's like a different era of the middleweight division. It's crazy how fast the sport evolves, man. So he's got to fight Hermanson. I'm sticking to my guns. He's got to fight Hermanson next. In Trust Game says, all I got to say is Himaev isn't another Johnny Walker. Wrestling over everything. Just take a look at the majority of the champions, mostly wrestlers. Yeah, he's definitely not a Johnny Walker because he can wrestle like you said. You're damn right about that. Oh, I like this. My boy Cloud says, Shogun versus Luke the Chin Rockhold. You see, these are the kind of fights I'm talking about. Like, you get exactly what I'm saying. Wow. Am I about to lose my voice on my first ever for the first ever time on radio? Y'all looking forward to that? So Shogun versus Luke the Chin Rockhold. I like it, man. I'm all in. Let's see it. Frank says, if Costa had a little more technical striking, he would be virtually unbeatable. Right now, though, Izzy may just have enough to outlast him. Well, as of right now, he is unbeatable. He's undefeated, right? So we'll see. We're going to find out when he fights Izzy what the deal is. But, all these undefeated guys, they look unbeatable until they get defeated. So definitely can't wait to see exactly what happens. But yeah, I'm curious, can Izzy outlast him? Can Izzy catch him with something early? Or is Borrachina's power too much? His presence, his pressure, man, that's the fight to watch of the year. You know what I mean? YOLO says, oh, I love your profile pic, man. It's fucking awesome. That fucking video with my boy Shia Buff is pretty fucking sick. Do it! Grundy! But anyways, he says, love Whittaker. I think he can look better in future fights. He needed to get a win bad here. He just got humiliated and had to get back on track. Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to look at it too. Like, he had to, prove to himself that, hey, I can still win at the highest level and I can still go 5 rounds hard. So yeah, that's a fantastic point. Definitely a confidence builder. And like, same thing for Till, like a fight ago, right? Because like, he got embarrassed by Masvidal, then he comes back kind of, gets the close decision over Kelvin. So now it was Whittaker's turn to do that. So fantastic point, YOLO. All right. Is it time to finally talk about Marina Rodriguez? Should we finally talk about that? All right. JT says, the way Evloev whispers before each fight seriously creeps me out. I didn't catch that. Was he like talking to himself or some shit? Like, dude, his face off, I was like, holy shit, this guy is intense as hell. He's no slouch at all. All right, Marina Rodriguez. So let's go ahead and fucking get this out the way. So I bet Marina Rodriguez here. Only loss of the night. And, obviously after watching that fight, it appears as though Carla was the sharp side. I mean, the dog won, so Carla was the sharp side. It's so funny. You see these fucking guys when they lose a bet and then they start talking about how the bet they lost was the sharp side. It's like, was it though? So you won't ever hear that kind of shit from me. Like, if I take a L, you take the L like a man and you move on. Just like when I win, you win and you move on, So you see these fucking guys like try to, downplay people's wins. And I'm not referring to like, getting robbed on a close split decision. You have this huge underdog and you were the clear value side. That I'm not talking about no shit like that. Like here in a close, split decision type fight, which is what it was, the dog won. So you'll never hear me be like, oh, Marina, you won't hear me say Marina got robbed. You won't hear me say Marina was the value side. You won't hear any of that bullshit from me ever. So don't even worry about that. But anyways, about this fight, You know, Marina's got no one to blame but herself for that shit. You know, like it's like when you decided to get off on strikes, you damaged her badly. You closed her eye. You did the whole bit. But like obviously we knew her takedown defense wasn't the best going into it, but I had more faith in her get up game, which is what I saw in other fights. You know, even when Cynthia was beating her ass up, she still got up and kept going forward. So I was assuming that, you know, she's going to get off to such a big lead on the feet that by the time Carla does, you know, take her down, that the judges are going to value what Marina did. And, you know, tonight that wasn't the case. You know, and Marina, it's like, it's 1-1 going into the third round. All you got to do is get back up and do a little bit of damage and you're going to win the round because Carla's doing no damage whatsoever. So that is a performance where Marina goes to the back of the line, goes back to the drawing board, and she's got to make some serious adjustments. Because I mean, could you imagine her versus Tatiana Suarez or something like that, or even like Wiley Zhang, and you know, so she's definitely got to really address that. Take some time off to address that because we know how talented she is on the feet and she's got physical tools. She's tall. She's long. Like she's got a lot of skill, a lot of potential. And I know she's 33, but so what? She's young in MMA years. It's not like she's had this fucking huge ass career. You know, like a 10+ year career in the UFC. Like she's still relatively new. She's just, you know, she's a late bloomer. I don't think she's old in terms of MMA years, and I think that she can develop her skills. It's just about going back to the gym and doing that. So hopefully for her sake she does, because I got high hopes for her. And for Esparza, I guess it's time for you to test out the next prospect, right? So, you know, you could do Esparza versus Ribas. You could do Esparza versus Yan Zonan after, you know, Zonan takes care of Gadelia. And you could go a lot of different directions. But with Esparza, let's go ahead and test out another prospect. Or, you know, it's funny, Dana was saying that all the other girls are either booked or injured and they don't have a number one contender for Wiley. So could you imagine if they slide Carla in a title fight with Wiley real quick? What would y'all line at Wiley in that fight? Or are y'all not sold on Wiley's wrestling? Because for me, I think Wiley would mop the floor with her bell to bell, or until she got a finish. Oh, that's not nice, Steve. He says Ronson the can that did. You know, so it's funny because it's like, so we know about his first stint in the UFC, Jesse Ronson. That's who we're talking about, and you know, has the split decision losses to Trinaldo, to who the fuck else, to Kevin Lee, to Tractor Prazeres, and you know, very respectable losses. And you're like, man, you know, that sucks. And then he was kind of a journeyman on the regional scene, couldn't quite get that big win, but still, you know, did the most important lesson that you can learn, whether it's just in life, whether it's in betting. And in betting, you got to be careful when I say never give up, because some people need to give up. But just in general, he showed a very valuable lesson. Never give up, you know, keep going no matter what, because one day, if you truly want something bad enough, if you work hard enough, if you go to bed every night dreaming about something and then you wake up every morning, you know, trying to make it happen, like, I don't care what obstacles are in your way or what roadblocks you got to overcome, it's doable. Just keep going forward. And that's what Jesse Ronson did. So I'm very inspired by what Jesse Ronson accomplished tonight. And even if he never wins another UFC fight again, he'll always remember the time that he went out there, knocked down Nicholas Dalby and choked him out in the first round, got a $50K performance of the night bonus live on ESPN. He'll always be able to say he won a fight in the UFC, he got a performance bonus. So my hat's off to Jesse Ronson, and we'll have to see who they match him up with next, because there's some fucking killers in the welterweight division. Even the unknown guys, like that kid that just beat Razak, Munir Lazez, like, dude, that kid is a problem. Shemaev, like, these kids coming up, like, okay, I like where we're going with this conversation. These kids coming up, Shemaev, Munir Lazez, like, holy shit, where are these guys coming from? And those guys are just at the beginning of their careers in the welterweight division. You know for a fact both those guys are going to be ranked one day. So, man, this sport is truly a beautiful thing to witness, especially the evolution. All right, let's see. Kyle Miller. Evloev is ultra impressive, but Grundy is a savage when it comes to takedowns, regardless if you credit his credentials or not. Yeah, they're both going to be back. You know, Grundy will be back, no questions asked. And Evloev, man, stepping up the ladder. You know what I mean? Stepping up the ladder. Rice McKee is pronounced Reese. Just for the future, brother. Your Grundy is spot on. I know it is Reese, but We gotta do it the American way, the Yankee way, as y'all like to say in the UK. Maybe I'll start calling him Reese because I do like to get my pronunciations right. But for now, we got to go with Rice. Just like Ricky Simone, it's Simone, but after that stun against Faber, we started calling him Ricky Simon. You know what I mean? Ray Blanket says 8 favorites in a row from main event. Congrats, man. I hope you cashed out big. Nick said Emil Meek. No, give Meek a striker. Yeah, I guess, but you got to know how to wrestle in the UFC, right? But man, he's still on the roster. They think he's exciting, so yeah, I know, right? Meek's still in the UFC. Yes, he is, Lance. Oh, what's up, my boy Lance? You doing good, bro? Saw my dude in ATL. He said what's up to me and Shaq at Phillips Arena, or formerly called Phillips Arena. Now it's State Farm Arena for UFC 236. Izzy Adesanya versus Kelvin and Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway. My boy Lance was there. Shout out to my boy. JT says, let's go, Werdum. Let's fucking go, Werdum. Vi Cavallo said he's leaving the UFC. I know he said that before the fight, but now that, you won the fight, you got a $50K bonus. We'll see if he reconsiders things. They might offer him a nice little contract, come finish out your career here with us, and we'll take it from there. So let's take a wait and see approach, JT. I'm not ready to say he's leaving quite yet. Steve Sparks says, Werdum, my cash cow. I know. It was fucking awesome. Great call. Thank you so much. Honestly, all the credit to Werdum. Great performance by Werdum. You know what I mean? And shout out to the odds makers for those wide odds. Shaq had Gustafsson? Nah, bro. Shaq had Werdum. Shaq even bet Werdum too. Is 230 Gus a legit heavyweight? Well, I mean, look, when you say legit heavyweight, Steve, Gus is a retired fighter. Gus retired his last fight, man. Like, Gus doesn't want to do this shit anymore. He showed up for a nice little paycheck. So is he a legit heavyweight? I mean, no, like not a top 10 guy, but yeah, can he like beat up Jay Collier? Probably, but I don't know. We'll see what he does, man, because it's just about if he wants this paycheck or not. But yeah, title aspirations out the window, bro. Nick says, Werdum's going to Russia or Bellator? I think if he lost tonight, for sure that would be the case. However, I do have an inkling that, he's probably happy with how tonight went down. First round finish. He's getting all that love on ESPN. He got the $50K bonus. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if they re-sign him. But I could also see it going the way you suggested as well. So let's just pay attention and see what happens. Werdum going to Bellator to get paid. I mean, it's not like he's not getting paid in the UFC. The guy's getting a nice 6 figures here. Yeah, Bellator contracts are an interesting thing. Some of these guys are getting paid fat, and some guys are not. So it just depends who's representing you and what kind of faith Bellator has in you. Because some guys are really hooking up. It's actually quite interesting when you learn about the pay structure of Bellator. But UFC, in terms of their fighters get paid more for the most part. Like it just depends who you are. But I'm saying like the lowest level Bellator fighter gets paid way less than the lowest level UFC fighter is what I'm saying. So the minimum is higher in the UFC. Lance Godley, my boy Lance, says Werdum top 5 heavyweight of all time. Yeah, I mean, look, you talk about the Mount Rushmore. Well, if you do Mount Rushmore, it's gonna be only 4 guys. So let's do like a top 5 maybe or some shit. We got Fade or maybe a top 10. We got Fedor in there, and this is not in order. These are just the guys I would suggest: Fedor, Kane, JDS, Stipe, DC, Overeem. Obviously, Werdum. There's so many. There's a lot of greats in the heavyweight division. My boy Dirty Mexican says, better late than never. What's good, BFP? What's good, my boy Danny? You good, bro? Jimmy the Drunk says, Snoop is going to be highly invested in this Woodley versus Covington fight. That's funny. I thought Snoop was hilarious. Whenever it's time to like go back and rewatch some of those Contender Series fights that Snoop was calling, shit always makes me laugh. That Snoopcast was hilarious. I know he kind of took it too far, for the public eye and, this and that, and some of the shit he shouldn't have said, but like, just as, dudes, that shit was hilarious. Kyle Miller says, I took first with Werdum and $1 DK. A couple of years back, had him in a $4 against Harris. God bless. Nice, man. Good shit. All right, Sydney says T Ferg and we're doomed nearly getting into it at media day when El Kukui threatened to ankle pick him. I know that's a classic. That was a classic moment. Champ shit only, right? My boy AWOL Jowder says, I did bet Jesse Ronson to defeat Dalby. First round finish, 14-1 odds. Damn, man, you should have let me know beforehand, man. That was a great bet on your part. Very, very impressive stuff. By the way, did y'all see that ATL's own Cody Durden got signed to the UFC? He's fighting a Chris Gutierrez next week on the card. So I'll give you all a little scoop on Cody Durden real quick. So obviously you already know what Chris Gutierrez brings to the table. Fucking probably the hardest kicker at 35s, right? I think we can all agree on that. Chris Gutierrez kicks like a goddamn mule. Ground game probably isn't the best, and his hands aren't as good as his kicks, but his kicks are fucking amazing. What Cody Durden brings to the table is that he's got a fantastic pace. His cardio is on point. He is going to be a little bit small for 35s. He's more of a flyweight, but his pace is very, very good. He kind of, gravitates more towards the wrestling. He's got a very good shot, but he's been mixing it up on the feet too. Like, he'll mix it up and, definitely has a little bit of influence from TJ Dillashaw, throw the high kick out of nowhere. So this is a tough out for his debut, man. I was talking to him today. I was like, damn, they weren't fucking around. I thought maybe you'd fight Brandon Royval for your debut, but it was like, nah, he's fighting Chris Gutierrez in the first fight in the UFC. So, let's see how Durden performs, and I'm interested. It's cool to see guys, that are from the NFC, the regional show here in the Southeast that I commentate, like Cody Durden. He was in the NFC main event last week, and, see him in the UFC. It's a cool thing to see. Always love when my local guys get signed. JT says, I can't believe how many people were on Gus in hindsight. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to shit on them, but hopefully, just like I can learn from the Marina Rodriguez bet, you guys can learn from betting on Gus at that kind of chalk, SC says, it's too bad the UFC is keeping the Brunson and Shabazian fight at only 3 rounds instead of 5, even though it's the main event. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you're right, and especially if it's like a back-and-forth 3-round fight, and then we're like, man, I wish there were 2 more rounds, but SC, there's a good fucking chance this fight ain't going past the first, ain't going past the second, so let's wait and see what happens before we determine if it was a good or bad idea. Steve says, Aspinall was the one. Man, Aspinall took care of biz, bro. That's probably the easiest money of the entire year. Frank says, Aspinall beat the guy who ate Jay Collier. I know, right? He did. Jay Collier with that quarantine fitness. I mean, that was more than quarantine fitness, dude, because, like, I'm in quarantine too, and I'm not even a professional athlete. I'm not 264 yet, so, or even close. So, so something else must have been going on. Like, did Jake even show up to the gym one time? Like 264? Like when I heard he was going up to heavyweight, I was like, okay, he's going to weigh in a nice, lean and mean 235, 240. It's going to be this fun, competitive back and forth fight. And then you see this, I don't want to shit on him too much, especially in this day and age, but you see this slob walk up 264. I was like, God damn, we're betting Aspinall. We're taking a leap of faith on Aspinall because, yeah, obviously a lot of questions weren't answered on tape. Like what happens if it hits round 3 and this and that. But it's like, dude, fucking Jay Collier ain't even making it to minute 3, So what happens in round 3 was irrelevant in that spot. And JT says he wants Sarukian versus Leo Santos and Fiziev versus Moicano. Yeah, I'm all for it. I like that. I want to see Fiziev versus Brad Riddell, but I like that Sarukian versus Leo Santos fight a lot. That's a solid suggestion. Nick Rodriguez says Justin James had love handles too, but he handled business in the first. He looked in better shape than some of these fucking guys that had full training camps. I'll tell you that. I was impressed. He's fighting Gavin Tucker next, by the way. Dirty Mexican says Cowboy moving into that Tony Ferg area. Opponents looking like they walked off a Texas Chainsaw Massacre set. You talking about my boy Alex Cowboy? Rex Lee says, what up, Dan? What up, my boy Rex? You doing good, bro? How's everything going with the team, man? John G says, love the stream, bro. Subbed. I really appreciate that, John G. Thank you, man. I'm going to try to come through for you all the time, dude. JT says, who do you give Jay Herbert next? What about Mac Desi? Let him go knock out Mac Desi real quick, get his first UFC win, and take it from there. Okay, Rex says, what about Herbert versus Alex Hernandez? Yeah. Whatever we do with Alex Hernandez, I had a fight I wanted to see. I wanted to give my prospect Omar Morales the Alex Hernandez fight, just because they were supposed to fight once and it got canceled, and he's coming off these 2 wins. But yeah, you could do that. You could do Herbert, Jay Herbert versus Alex Hernandez. But I like the what was the other idea y'all had for Jay Herbert? Oh, Makdessi. I want to see him knock out Makdessi. I think that's the perfect fight for him to rebound with. Frank says Whittaker Yoel 1 was the best Whittaker. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying, man. That's the best he's ever looked. But props to him on a very gritty win tonight. Steve says Jay gonna be on loop for a bit. Yeah, man, definitely. Sydney says who shit the bed worse tonight, Dalby or Sabata? Sabata. I'll tell you why. So obviously, Dalby got stopped right away, but at least Dalby went out there and fought. Just went out on his shield. I mean, he did tap kind of quick, but the choke was in. But I'm just saying, at least he was fighting Jesse Ronson until he got dropped. Whereas Sabata, Sabata's coaches are about to have a serious war with it. Let me tell you something, Sydney. Peter Sabata. So after his fight with Leon Edwards, he flies in this Polish boxing coach to not just train him for a little bit, but to live in his house for 2 straight years. He's been working on his boxing every single day. And to come out there against Alex Cowboy, not even throw a punch. And we can talk about the range and that, but it's like, dude, you didn't even want to close the distance. Like, he was terrified, staying on the outside the entire time. The body kicks hurt him, which also happened in the Noak fight back in the day. That was the best Alex Cowboy's ever looked. Fuck who shot the bed worse. Let's talk about how good Alex Cowboy looked, man, because Alex Cowboy, what I liked most about that performance is how relaxed and how calm he was the entire time, because you could tell when he hurt Peter Sabata, he wanted to just unload the clip on him and get him out of there. But his corner, they were screaming, calma, calma, which, means calm in Portuguese. They're telling him to calm down because they don't want him to blow the load and make those mistakes that got him those unnecessary losses. And when I say unnecessary losses, like, some of those fights he could have won, man. Like, he could have beat Dalby. He could have beat Mike Perry. I think he could have beat Gunnar Nelson too. So I feel like now he's starting to address some of his mistakes, which is interesting to see in a guy that, he's already had 33 pro fights and he's still improving. So that was a step in the right direction for Alex Cowboy in terms of the, energy management. So I was really happy to see that. Brett says, Dan hit the bull before the live stream 100%. Do bongs count or bulls only, or maybe a blunt too? You never know. You never know. Are we handling this all right? We're still talking for like an hour straight, so not too antisocial yet. Ray Blanket says he's got Izzy all day against Borrachina. Yeah. Man, like I said, dude, you can make a convincing case for both guys. No questions asked. Cloud says, drop that Marina post fight. Oh, I already got you. You already heard my thoughts on that. Stanley says, fucking Marina cost me a lot. At least I cashed my 2 parlay between second and third. I'm glad to hear you did, man. We had to cash out in other ways, Got to find, other spots. Let me see if I got any regrets. Again, no one gives a fuck about any regrets or any bullshit like that. So this time, no, I got no regrets. I played the spots that I thought were going to win, and what happened. You know what I mean? Came out with a dub, but obviously would have liked Marina to perform better, but whatever. We cashed a plus 300 on Werdum and Aspinall, easiest money of the year. So now we move on to next week. In Trust Game says, I find it hilarious all the girls at 115 minus the top 3 are afraid of JJ. Nobody calls her out. Yeah, is that true? I mean, let me look at these rankings and see if that's really true, because all right, I feel like this division needs a lot of work, because right now in the top 5, you got Tatiana Suarez, who's out indefinitely with a neck injury, and then you got Nina Ansaroff, who's out indefinitely because she's pregnant. You got Claudia Gadelia, who at least they're about to weave her out with the Anzona, and then you got Carla Esparza, who's clogging things up. So it's like, those people kind of already lost to Joanna, you know what I mean? And then the people like Yan Zonan, Amanda Hebas, Yan Zonan's already booked against Claudia Gadelia. So maybe after she wins that, then she can call out Joanna and Jacek. And then Rodriguez, she's in no position to call anyone out after that fucking stunt. And then Hebas, we got to see her with Carla Esparza and Tisha Torres first. Then we can worry about Jan Jacek. So I hear what you're saying, but I feel like right now is not really the right place or time for any of these girls, like specifically like to call out Jan Jacek right now. And plus, Joanna needs some time off after that war, man. That war against Wiley, that took a little bit off. So she needs to take a little bit of time off. Cloud says, did Marina pull a stunt or is Carla the new Weasel Perez? Honestly, they both pulled stunts. Marina pulled the bigger stunt, but, it could have been a lot more dominant for Carla if she didn't, go for those leg locks in the first and second. And it could have been a lot more dominant for Marina if she got back up in the third, if she didn't, try to play off her back and this and that. So it was a stunt on both sides, but props to Carla for pulling out the win. Jeff Slaughter, damage should count for something. No, yeah, I agree. I thought so too. But again, you're not going to hear me be the guy that cries robbery because I'm very aware that, and I hate to classify this as a controversial split because it's not. Like, Marina's got no one to blame but herself. If they would have given us the Marina win, great. We take it and we run with it. Are you going to give your money back? I never complain about winning ever, but I'm not going to complain about losing either. Like, we understand why we lost. Like, she should have not been on her back for that long. So, no, I agree with you. Damage should count. And, pride rules, Marina won that fight, but under that rule set, you can still make the case for Carla. So it's frustrating, obviously, but it is what it is, man. You just got to move on. Sydney said, did you detect that Dan Hardy might have flipped the fuck out on Herb after the Trinaldo Herbert fight? It seemed like Felder tried to calm him, and he was off the mic for a sec. I heard people talking about that. Is he like boys with Herbert from, back in the UK or something? I heard people talking about that. Kyle Miller says, us real ones know it's pride over money. Thanks, Dan, for all your hard work and dedication. Thank you so much, bro. Wiley minus 700 over Carla, according to Frank. Minus 1,000 over Carla, again, according to Cloud. He says he would even fear for Carla's safety. My boy John G. He says Carla's striking is too crisp for Zen. Funny dude. SC says Wiley would maul Esparza. She'd be all over that arse like white on rice. Loving my stream, bro. Respect. Thank you very much for loving my stream. It couldn't be possible without people like you watching, so I really appreciate that. AJ said Jesse Ronson and Francisco Trinaldo are two of many inspirations. Never give up. Never give up, bro. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. And when I kind of made a dick statement earlier saying like maybe some people should give up, like I'm talking about like, if you're taking out loans and you're like fucking like, you can't make you can't pay your bills and you're still gambling, that's when, that's when you should give up. But like if you're on a mission, there's going to be ups and downs in anything you do, but just keep going forward. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you, AJ. Never, ever give up. John G said, you got Brunson next week? Probably not. I mean, I take it one event at a time, John G. Obviously, yeah, I'll look ahead, see what's on the card, this and that, but 1 week at a time in terms of, researching the fights and making decisions. But I'm pretty sure I'll like Edmund in that fight. Yeah, we'll take a look there for sure. John G, Mick needs exciting fights. Yeah, I feel you, but he's also 1-3 in the UFC, and they're letting this kid Shimaev go on this little, crushing tour. So go ahead and give him an easy win. But I feel if they want to, hook him up with a striker just because he, took a couple for the team, that works too. Cloud says Trinaldo, the ageless wonder, put him to sleep. Yeah, he did. Meek versus Al Hassan. Hey, you guys know I love matching up Al Hassan. Where's my boy Jimmy the drunk at? Where's my boy Jimmy the fucking drunk at? I know he's gonna call me out for that, but Meek versus Al Hassan, I like it. Where Doom got a bonus too. Yes, he did, JT. Yes, he did. John said Snoop. All right, so let's see. I think I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon here. So Faber and Snoop drinking gin and juice in the commentary booth. I know those were the times, man. Those were the days, and man, we miss them. The train on that rainwater. The train on that rainwater. What am I missing? John G. Speaking of the damage, where the hell is Nate Landwehr? He's celebrating his first UFC win, man. I'm glad you brought him up though, because so I guess there's a little more time for story time. So Nate Landwehr, obviously y'all know him, got that win over Darren Elkins recently. And for those that don't know, he was actually the M1 global featherweight champion, which means he was the champion over in Russia. He was going to Russia as an American, beating Russians in Russia, and he was the champ over there. So he built a following doing that. And Movsar Evloev was always in the same promotion, but I think Evloev actually like has a stake in the company and all that stuff, and he's the poster boy, and they always had like a thing, but they never ended up fighting. But now they kind of want to fight, so maybe we could see Evloev versus Nate Landwehr. I think that's a very interesting fight. Fire Truck 904 says, Dan, you the man, half the battle, really put in the work. I'm eating good tonight. That Verdun play was class. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can bring more plays like that for the rest of the year, just for the rest of our lives, right? Because, I'm not in this just to go on one little run and, tell people, about, oh, look at my hot run, like, dude, we're in year 6, then we're going to be in year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Like, I'm in this for the fucking long haul. That's why, it was cool cashing a plus 300, but, it's not like the end of the world. It's not a make or break situation. Like, I'm going to still be doing this time next year, the year after, et cetera, et cetera. I'm in this shit for the long haul. So tonight was a great night, but now we got to move on to next week. JT says Landwehr versus Rosa is the fight to make. That would be popping. Yeah, but I don't want to see that. I want to see Rosa. Man, I had a fight for him on BFP matchmaking on MMA radio, where I kind of suggested he fights like another prospect. Oh yeah, what about like Yusuf Zalal? I know Yusuf just got matched up with I think Peter Barrett, but I kind of like the idea of Yusuf Zalal versus Erosa. I think that's a good fight. Kareem says, "Why do you look like you're about to cry?" That's funny as hell. I am about to cry with joy, man. I'm happy right now. Nah, it's like 2-something a.m., but I appreciate you watching. I can promise you all is good over here in ATL. So let me see if y'all got anything else. If y'all don't got anything else, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Steve says Sabata was his only blemish on the weekend. Yeah, it sucks. He didn't fight. He's got a clear path to victory. But props to Alex Cowboy. He did his thing. JT says, dude, Sabata moved his boxing coach into his home for 2 years only to stand at kicking range and get chewed up like a fucking dingus. I know, right? Story of the fight on his end. And then for Alex Cowboy, how relaxed he was, mixing it up to the body, the takedown defense. Y'all saw that sprawl. That was a nasty sprawl. And it almost seemed like, what's up, Kyle? How you doing, man? It almost seemed like Alex was reserved in a way, but in a good way, because he didn't want to empty the clip and make the same mistakes he made the last few times that cost him. So, yeah, it was one of those things. All right, last thing. Danish Khan says he wants to see Landwehr versus Evloev now. I didn't know that M1 backstory. Yeah, it's really cool, right? Like, you should actually go to YouTube after this and type in Nate Landwehr's highlight reel, and you can like basically see like he's got this big personality going out there in Russia and how well respected he was. And now that he's in the UFC and he's had a tough road. So yeah, it's a really cool thing to see, man. He's been doing his thing. JT likes my Zalal versus Rosa matchup. Yeah, I think it's a good one, man. Let me look at the card of tonight's card real quick and see if I missed anything. All right, so I feel like we didn't talk about Trinaldo enough. Look, Trinaldo did his thing. He weathered that storm, went out there and knocked the guy out. So, and Jai Herbert, he'll be back, man. But Trinaldo, man, he dug deep, and he's an ageless wonder. It's amazing how him and Leo Santos they're still winning fights at this age. It's awesome to see, man. So I fucking always got love for my boy Trinaldo, Masuranduba, which means like Brazilian redwood, I believe. Isn't that what it means? So he's a beast. Jesse Ronson, we talked about him. Never give up. Tom Aspinall, easiest money of the year. Tanner Boser. What about Tanner Boser? We can't leave this conversation, guys, without talking about Tanner Boser. So look, he's been very solid in the UFC, but after that Gane fight, because he comes out there in the debut, he defeats Daniel Spitz by a very dominant decision, right? And then fought the Gane fight, the only guy to go the distance with Gane in the UFC. But then after that, we can talk about the 2 knockouts, and we will in a second. But one thing I want to point out, he lost like 10 to 15 pounds. So the guy kind of took a different approach. Like after the Gane fight, I guess he felt like, man, I kind of am the faster guy, but maybe if I lose a little bit more weight, I can be more effective, because you saw the size difference with him and Pessoa. Pessoa was fucking huge, man. Pessoa was like 6'5" or some shit. And it didn't even matter. The speed of Bozer. Bozer has been making some real gains, man, some real improvements, some real evolution in his game, and he's in his prime right now. So I like what I'm seeing from Bozer. So maybe he can get that Maurice Green fight, or I mean, I kind of like the idea of because I kind of honestly low key feel like Bozer's kind of ahead of Maurice Green. I kind of feel like he's beyond that. So I like the idea of Maurice Green and Tom Aspinall. But Aspinall did call out Spivak. I like that fight too, Spivak versus Aspinall. So you could always do the Maurice Green and Bozer fight. It's just my only thing is that I kind of feel like Bozer's kind of beyond that. Y'all agree, right? Don't you think he's kind of ahead of that, or do you think he's on that level and it's a good competitive fight? Because I think Bozer would beat Maurice Green. Yep. I agree, Steve. That's what we mentioned. John G says Tanner Bozer needs that Maurice Green money. I know, right? So Jimmy the Drunk says Evloev minus 400 versus Landwehr. So y'all think he would outwork him, or would there be some value on Landwehr there or not? Is it a tough matchup? Aspinall Spivak's fun. Yeah, I think so too. Oh, John thinks Spivak might whoop on Tommy. You think so? I mean, I don't know about whoop on him, but maybe kind of control him. Again, that might be the fight where we need to find out like what happens if he hits a third round type ordeal. Okay, Penny Kianzad, great job to her. She definitely edged that one out. Congrats. Ramazan Ameev, the clinch master, did his thing. And then Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood was just slightly sharper than this kid. The kid fought tough. Look, the kid came into the UFC with a lot of experience, but Nathaniel Wood, he needed to get a win. He needed a taste of victory again, get some confidence back. So now we'll put him in a tough fight again and see what he does from there. All right, guys. Any last questions y'all got for me, or am I cool to wrap this thing up? Y'all let me know. Y'all got like a 10-second countdown between me taking another sip of this water and closing out the live stream. Anything else y'all want to know? Life advice, betting advice, any question, whatever the case may be. My favorite food, my favorite band, whatever, I'm down. All right. SC says Bozer needs a big name like Arlovsky. Hey, yes. Great thinking, dude. Always give the prospects the Arlovsky test, and I think Bozer is more than capable of passing. So I like where your head's at. Sydney says, what do you think about Craig going forward? Same thing I thought about Craig going into this fight. Paul Craig. It's Paul Craig. If you're not on your P's and Q's, he can submit guys. He can come back. But, I think he's going to struggle against the top 10. But let him have these fun fights. It's Paul Craig. He's going to stay with the company for a long time. He wants a prediction for Aspinall versus Chase Sherman. Ooh, that's a tough one because Chase Sherman looked a lot better in his return. He's also a guy that's paid his dues. I'll go with Aspinall. Maybe he can get it to the mat. Favorite color? That purple. You already know. All right. Dixon says Paul Craig subs John Jones. I know, right? Cloud says, thank you. Looking forward to the next pod. Appreciate that. Next for Paul Bearju Craig. Let me see these rankings. So next for the Bearju. It's funny because he beat a top 15 guy, Magomed Ankalaev. I'm not quite sure. I got to think about it, honestly. Sorry to give you a I don't know answer. I know that's not what you wanted. All right, fuck it. I'll pull up the goddamn roster. I got you, bro. So what about like Iwan Kutalaba? No, he's fighting Magomed Ankalaev. I don't know. It's tough. There's a lot of different directions you could go with Paul Craig. So we'll have to see what they want to do. Sorry I don't have an answer for you. Who does Trinaldo get in his welterweight debut? So it's funny you asked that because I was actually thinking that Jay Herbert should move up to 170. And people will think, he's kind of skinny and stuff. But yeah, if he puts on 15, pounds, and he might be able to take shots a little better because going into this fight, I did think he was kind of chinny, but maybe it's actually Herbert that needs to move up. I know Trinaldo missed weight, but this is the first time he's missed weight. So let's see if it's an ongoing occurrence before we, jump to conclusions. Because as of right now, in a multi-fight career, that's the first time he's missed weight. So let's not hold it against him yet. John G wants to see Trinaldo and Perry. I'm down for it. There's so many fights you can do with a guy like Perry. Nico Price, Razak Al Hassan, right? I always love to match him up. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very, very, very much for tuning in to this recap live stream. I really appreciate it. Going to try to make this a regular thing after the fights. So truly appreciate y'all's support. Make sure you follow me at Best Fight Picks. My plays are available at bestfightpicks.com. Subscribe to Half the Battle, the weekly podcast. You already know. Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, everywhere you can get podcasts, you can find Half the Battle. So you already know. And then I got my new show, the Line Movement MMA Betting Show with Dan Tom. So you can find that at linemovement.com or line_movement on Twitter. And then I also do the Patreon show with Brett Apley, Kyle Marley, and Sun Tzu, for the DraftKings side of things. It's called Daily Fan MMA Radio. So those are all the places y'all can check me out. Half the Battle is my pride and joy. That's my show. So thank you all so fucking much for everything. I truly appreciate it. And until the next time, let's